Wait. Before you switch to a different video, I want to preface this one by saying no, this is not, I repeat, this is not another unboxing video of the Sony A7 III. This is my review and why I chose the A7 III. Kevin Walters here with Kevin Walters Photography, and welcome. So why did I choose the A7 III? Well, previously I used the Nikon D7000. I got this camera 6 years ago. A year after I had graduated from college, I upgraded from my Nikon D60, and I have to say this was supposed to have been a great camera, even though it's a crop sensor body. It was supposed to be a great camera, but how can I put this in a nice way? The focusing system on this camera sucks. Especially in low light situations. It does not, even though it tells you the little box is red and it tells you that's where it's focusing at, it doesn't really focus there. So now in daylight it was fine in daylight, but when you're shooting a wedding or something, you really don't want to take the chance of missing a lot of shots. So I would take 5 or 6 shots of the same moment in time that I could, just to be on the safe side. Most of the time that worked, but you go through SD cards a lot quicker when you do that. So yeah, 6 years later, I thought, I'm upgrading this thing. I'm tired of using it. So this is going away. So I did a lot of research. I knew I was wanting to upgrade my camera. So I did a lot of research, including the Nikon D750. Great camera. Low price point right now, but there's a reason for that. And the reason it is the D750 is almost as old as the D7000, so it's basically obsolete now. You still, don't take me wrong, I mean, you still get great shots with a D750, but if I'm going to upgrade, I want something good. So I looked at the D850. I really liked the D850. Didn't like the price. $3,500 for the D850, but found out that the focusing system on it for video purposes was not that great, so knocked that one out. Then I looked at a D500, which is one of the newer ones from Nikon, but it's a crop sensor body, and I was really wanting to go full frame. So then I looked at a Canon, looked at the Canon 5D Mark IV. Again, great camera. Limited on 4K recording though. And the price point on it was like $3,300 for the body only. So, yeah. So then I was watching YouTube. I like to watch, shout out to Jared Poland, Frono's Photo. I really like to watch his channel. And I found that the Sony products were actually very good. Started watching videos from him on the A9, the A7R III, and the A7 III. And I was very impressed. And he was too. He's a very die-hard Nikon shooter, but he was impressed with these Sony products. So I began to research Sony, and I liked what I found. And the A7 III was It's their lower end, and by that I mean price point camera, but the specs on it are awesome. Let me go over a few of the pros that really caught my eye. First off, it's a full frame 35mm CMOS sensor with 24.2 megapixels. Very, very good sweet spot for megapixels. Then it shoots 14-bit uncompressed RAW files. So if I want to make a very large print, it'll do it without any trouble at all. It shoots up to 10 frames per second. Very, very nice. I don't see myself using that, but if I end up at a race or something one day, maybe it'll come in handy, but it's nice to have it just in case. The silent electronic shutter, very, very nice, especially when you're shooting, if you happen to be shooting an orchestra or a wedding or something very ceremonial, maybe a baby dedication or something like that. Very, very nice to have. I mean, that opens up the world for photographers even more, because you don't have to put that bubble around them anymore to where you don't hear the shutter going off. So that's very, very nice. Full 4K recording, 30 frames per second. Very, very nice. And it doesn't crop it. That's even better. And you can get 30 minutes at a clip from the camera. Now, if you plug it into an Atomos, you can go unlimited, but 30 minutes from the camera itself, 4K recording, very, very nice. Dual card slots, another great thing for wedding photographers. Very, very great to have. You always got that backup. And if both SD cards fail, well, you're having a really, really bad day. The electronic viewfinder in that camera, I found it amazing that, coming from the DSLR, where what you see is not usually what you get, if you're not looking at your little meter down in the bottom. To actually see the shot before you take it, to know exactly how it's going to look, it's awesome. I love the way electronic viewfinders work now. The autofocus system in this camera, 693 points to choose from. Covers, 94% of the viewfinder. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Especially coming from that D7000. And then the eye autofocus. Now, this was the big seller for me. For a camera to recognize the eye and track it, no matter how erratic the movement. Now, I know there is some limitation to that, but it does a very, very good job of tracking the subject, walking away from the camera, walking toward the camera, moving from side to side. This camera is awesome. It tracks the eye. The autofocus system is the same as its big brother, the A9. That's where the A7 III adopted that from the A9. So, and you get all of those features, and that's just some of the features. That's not all. For under $2,000 for the body. I mean, that's awesome. Now, with all that being said, there are a few not so much negative points, but a few cons. Let's just leave it at that. The size of the camera, the smaller ergonomics of it. I'm used to that. This big, bulky, heavy D7000 with a very pronounced grip. You can walk around and carry it like that, and it's got that little notch in it, so you don't have to worry about it. Then I went to the Sony, and the Sony's more rounded. Well, the grip part's more rounded. The body's smaller, lighter, more compact. It's just personal preference. You may like a more compact camera. Now, I don't have the vertical grip yet, so that may change everything when I put the vertical grip on it, but we'll see. I mean, this is just nitpicky stuff, guys. Another sort of to it is the when it comes to the SD card slots, only one of those is UHS 2. I wish Sony would have made both of those UHS 2s, but at least one of them is, and that one is the default for the video recording, so it's okay. Now this one's sort of a biggie. For video recording, right now I'm just hoping, well, I tested the shot before I started the video, so I know I'm in focus and I know I'm in the frame, but I wish the screen articulated. It does tilt up and down, which is very nice, but come on Sony, make the thing articulate too. Maybe that's the A7 IV, who knows. But like I said, guys, this is just nitpicky stuff. Now there is one more thing. Glass. Good glass for the Sony system is more expensive than Canon or Nikon. Now Sigma and Tamron are trying to make headway into making more good glass for the Sony system E-mount. So hopefully they will get on board even more now that, I mean, the Sony's A7III and all, well, the A7III at least is always back ordered. So it's a very, very popular camera. Photographers are going to it. So hopefully Tamron and Sigma are in development, research and development right now, and making at least, you know, the 14 to 24, 24 to 70, and 70 to 200 2.8s for this camera. So in the meantime, I'll keep saving up my pennies. So, and I will eventually get good glass for this camera. Speaking of glass, I am shooting with the kit lens. Yes, I got this camera with the kit lens because I didn't have any Sony lenses, so I thought when I get the thing I at least want to start shooting with it. So it's a decent lens, 28 to 70, 3.5 to 5.6 respectively. For a kit lens, it's very decent actually. And like I said, with the Nikon, I really wasn't invested in the ecosystem because I was discouraged with the focusing system in the D7000. So I've been mainly shooting with kit lenses all along, which isn't a bad thing. It makes you develop your skills more, I think. I did have a nifty 50 for the D7000, and so I got some very nice bokeh shots with that, but you get bokeh shots too with the kit lens as long as you know what you're doing. So that's really, like I said, it's just nitpicky stuff. But overall, very, very pleased with the camera. More than pleased, impressed. So that's some of the reasons why I chose the A7 III. Some more stuff too. I know that Canon and Nikon are supposed to be announcing their competition for Sony around the time of Photokina 2018, which is coming up very soon actually. But even then, Sony still has a 5-year head start over Canon and Nikon on the full frame mirrorless system. So by now they have most of the bugs worked out. And even smaller ones that may become an issue in some of these cameras, a firmware update will fix those. So even though Sony does advertise the A7 III as their basic model camera, it's far from basic. As you can see by most of the specs, I mean, I just don't see Canon and Nikon competing with this for the under $2,000 mark. Once Canon and Nikon do announce their full frame mirrorless system, I just don't think it's going to be the same value as Sony. Now, Nikon Rumors is already announcing that they have they're coming out with, I should say, a 45 megapixel version, which will be around $4,700, and a 24 megapixel version, which will be around $2,900. Now, this is a rumor, but hopefully Nikon will surprise us and lower that price point a little bit to compete with the A7III and A7R III, but we will see. As far as Canon goes, they have already been playing around with mirrorless systems some. The M50, which is out right now from Canon, very popular vlogging camera, but again, it's crop sensor, so it's not full frame. But my thing with Canon is they have a bad reputation for holding back tech in their cameras. They hold it back on lower ends to save it for the higher end models, but even when it comes to the higher end models like the 5D Mark IV, they still hold back tech for a rainy day. And with Canon, the rainy day is always another day. So that's my only thing with Canon, is I just don't think they're going to bring something to the table with all the specs and features that the Sony A7III has. And if they do, it's going to be a very expensive camera. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So the bottom line, why I chose that Sony A7III is I don't like to wait. Once I make my mind up and I want to do something, I move mountains to make it happen, and that's what I did with my purchase for the A7III. Sacrificing right now, but I think it was well worth it. I really do. I didn't want to wait on Nikon and Canon because, like I said, I just don't think they're going to be able to compete with the value that you get and the specs that you get with the A7III or any other Sony, for that fact, mirrorless system, the A7R III or the A9. Now, as luck would have it, when I ordered the A7III, it was very miraculous. I started researching this camera in the beginning of June, and B&H was sold out. It was on back order there. So I jumped over to Adorama. It was on back order, but I went ahead and hit the notify me when it comes in stock email button. And I did that, and as luck would have it, a few days later, on Wednesday, June the 6th, I believe, or it may have been Thursday, June the 7th, because that's when I ordered the camera. Yeah. And I got home that night from work, and I ordered the camera the night of Thursday, June the 7th. It shipped the next day at lunchtime, and then I got the camera Monday, June the 11th. So I hit the market at the right time, or at least I hit Adorama at the right time, and that I did not have to be on back order for months and months and months before I got the camera. So that was very good too. And another thing too that really helped me out was I got the one with kit lens, like I said. So they were more readily available than the body only version. So yeah, that was amazing. I got the camera, and I love it. I've had the camera now for a little over a month, about a month and a half now, and I love the camera. It does everything I could ever want in a camera. Now, a year from now, tech may change and they may blow my socks off again with more upgrades, but for right now, I love this camera. I look forward to the months and the years to come with this camera to see what happens, to see how it develops my skills even more, to see how it pushes me, to see the results that I get from this camera. I'm so excited about it. I'm currently in the process, like I said, for saving up to get better glass for this camera to make my experience even better. But in the meantime, a little kit lens, I like it. I mean, it does everything I want it. So that's why I chose the Sony A7 III. We'll see what time will tell when Canon and Nikon announce their versions of full-frame mirrorless cameras, but for right now, I just don't think they're going to be able to beat the Sony A7 III. So that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you know every time I post a new video on YouTube. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate you guys. And don't forget to compose your shot. This is Kevin Walters with Kevin Walters Photography. See you later.